Equity and equality. What do we mean by equity? Well, let's look at what we mean by equality. In equality, we have equality of opportunity. That is to say, we give everyone a fair chance, an equal chance in life. People that work harder, people that do the work, they can get rewarded. If you work harder at school, you'll get a higher grade. That's equality of opportunity. That's a meritocracy. That's fair. That's what we should all be working towards. What's equality of outcome? Equality of outcome is saying, regardless of how hard you work, you'll all get the same job or you'll all get the same pay. That seems fair, doesn't it? Well, not really, because this black woman's worked 90 hours a week for the last 4 years to get there, and this white man's worked 10 hours a week to get there. Should they get the same money? No, that's not fair, is it? So no, equality of outcome isn't really equality at all. That is bigotry. That is unfairness. And another word for equality of outcome is equity. If you hear people talk about equity in a positive way, how to get to equity, they are looking to codify bigotry. They're looking to codify racism. They're looking to codify sexism. Universities are already doing this. This is why Asians are taking Harvard University to court for systematically discriminating against Asians in favour of blacks. Of course, there's many problems with that. The blacks aren't intelligent enough to get into Harvard, the ones are letting in this way. So they end up dropping out more than they would if they went to an appropriate university they could get into. Causes resentment, and it's just bigotry. It's just racism and sexism. So that is what equity means. Equity is just a synonym for bigotry. Equity is systematic bigotry on an industrial scale that is happening everywhere in the West at the moment. It's you thought Jim Crow in the South. You thought segregation was bad in the South, and of course it was. This is on a whole other scale. That only affected the southern US. You now have the entire Western world, which has a systematized sexism and racism. Sexism against men, racism against whites, with the apex of this bigotry being against straight white men. Equity is bigotry, but we should call this him crow. This is him crow. This is bigotry, systematized bigotry against straight white men. This is people in corporations having brainwashing lessons about how straight white men are the Dalit, untouchable class of Western society, about how they've never done anything good, and about how they're scum, and about how they need to repent. This is systematized racism, systematized sexism. This is just bigotry. This is Nazi ideology coming from the left. These people talk about equity. It seems like I'm exaggerating. This shit's fucking everywhere. This shit's taken over the West. This shit needs to be destroyed now. You have no choice. If you hear the word equity, you just need to say, oh, you mean bigotry. Oh, you want equity? So you want someone that works 5 hours a week to get paid the same as someone who works 90 hours a week. That's bigotry. That's systematic racism. That's systematic sexism. Because we know the target of this will be straight white men, primarily, because they're just fucking Nazis. People who want equity are just fucking Nazis. They're just fucking bigots. They need to be shot down. When you hear equity, say bigotry, say Nazi. Oh, you mentioned equity here. Do you believe in equity? Well, that's equality of outcome, correct? Okay, then that's bigotry. Then you are a Nazi. Why do we have Nazis in this company? Get your colleagues together and get this person ejected from the company. Anyone talking about equity is a Nazi. They want a white male genocide. Seems like an exaggeration, but it really isn't. That's where this road leads. If you start down a road to this group isn't human, we're dehumanizing this group, straight white men. When the Nazis were dehumanizing the group, Jews. For intersectionalists, far leftists, wokeists, bigots, Nazis, all of them, their group is just straight white men. Oh, they're not calling for the genocide of straight white men now. But if we keep going down this road, straight white men have already been dehumanized. They've already become the Dalit class, the untouchable class in society. We go down this road, it inevitably leads to violence. It leads to beatings, it leads to imprisonment, it leads to genocide. We have to stop the march to genocide, which is what intersectionality is. It's just codified bigotry. It's codified Nazism. Intersectional feminists are Nazis. Antifa are Nazis. Communists are Nazis. They're all Nazis. They're all bigots. They're racists and sexists. So when you hear this stuff, the room's on fire. It's 10 to 12. We do not have much time to stop this genocide against white men, which is coming. Again, seems like I'm joking. Just fucking walk it through. Straight white men have already been dehumanized on almost all the mainstream media. In business, these far leftist fucks, these Nazi far leftist fucks, in the university, when that's long gone, and in government. This is all codified now. White slavery, anti-white bigotry, white male genocide. This is all inevitable if the course doesn't change. Again, I'm not exaggerating. The widespread dehumanization and self-loathing of straight white men. This is everywhere, and it's unchallenged. We have to challenge this now. If you see this at work, you have to organize with other people who are not Nazis, and I assume there are some people who aren't Nazis at your company, probably the vast majority, and you have to go through any such documents like this and remove all the bigotry and make them neutral again. And especially any mention of equity has to go. Any racial quotas have to go. Any gender quotas have to go. And you could firm it up with more fairness. But equity is just bigotry. Equity is Nazism. Equality of outcome is Nazism. These people are Nazis. They're clothing themselves in nice clothing that makes them seem fair. It's not fair. It's 1984. They are Nazis. They must be ejected from the BBC, from media outlets, from government, from companies, and from the university. All these bigots, all these Nazis, these far leftist Nazis, which is what far leftists are, they must be ejected. And it's your role, it's your duty to eject them. Do it smartly, but we need to tell these people, we need to tell the people in charge, these policies are going to lose companies money. They're going to lose them staff. They're going to get legal challenges. And they're ultimately a bad idea. We need to eject this bigotry. We need to eject the Nazis and the Nazi ideas now that we're running out of time. And let me be clear, what do we want? We want a post-racial society where there is no racism against anyone, where morons don't try and use racism against white people to get through racism. How fucking stupid is that? Where you don't use sexism against men to get past sexism. The way you get past these things is to stop being racist and stop being sexist, to start living in a post-racial world. Because in 200 years, obviously we should be in a post-racial world where your race matters as much as your eye colour. But we're not going to get there if these extreme leftist fucks keep doing what they're doing. It's time to push back.
The Deviant Developer Podcast. Tap subscribe in any podcast app to never miss an episode. Please leave a review on iTunes and like on YouTube. It's essential to spread the word. To contact me or make a welcome donation, go to thedeviantdeveloper.com. Your support is greatly appreciated.